Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. So I'm planning, well, mostly I was planning a watercolor today, and then I started thinking to myself, I'll just get like 2 colors of ink just to liven things up towards the end. And then I thought I might as well bring in the pastels. You can't see them. I've got loads of different things around me. And I ended up bringing in as well some glue and collage and no. But at least what I'm planning on doing, at least, and I might end up starting and finishing it with watercolor. That was my original plan. So where would I start now? I think with the greens. So this is as far as I know, this is Hooker's green. I'm mixing it with ultramarine blue. And I don't know why I did that really. It's more, it doesn't have so much of the blue in it really. I'll put some yellow ochre in. That seems more the color. Let's start just up there where the needs even more yellow, doesn't it? Where the sunflower is. It's a very yellowy green. Where the sunflower is there. And then in between the sunflower and the daisy is the same kind of green. But of course we'll have the petals of the daisy will be coming in there, overlapping the sunflower. Here's Midnight. I don't know what she's wanting. Probably the painting water. And then as I move across the daisy, I've got some nice orange here that I think would work. Notice washing the brush in between. Not washed it well enough there. So I want the colours to remain clean as I can. And of course, wherever the water is, that's where the paint will go. So that's something to be aware of as well. What am I doing now? I was going to just, as we go around the daisy, I thought I might as well paint what's coming up to meet it. And here it's the crocosmius. And it's extending up here as well. And there's a little flower. It's a bit more yellow, extending that way. It's Maisie in the background going a bit nuts. It's a bit more of a yellowish colour that I'm bringing in here. And then behind the, what was that? Paint. And then behind the whole lot is the green of the outdoors through the window. But I'm maybe just going to leave that for now and I'll go to the stem, which is a kind of a blue-green of the daisy. And it's going, I think, generally in that direction. And then that same colour could be seen. What's this now? It's the leaf. Yeah, the same colour could be seen in places in between the other daisy petals. Just down to where the daisy meets the jug. I might put a touch of brown in there as well, just to deepen the tone a bit more. Brown and blue. And then there's the foliage just above the rim of the vase, and it's also where the purple flower is sitting, the aster. Now I have got lovely colours in the chalks that I might be able to use for the purple aster, but for now I'm just going to use the ultramarine blue and the pink that's in the palette, which I think is opera rose. Make a watercolour purple in the first instance anyway, just to indicate the position of the flower here. I think I need a bit more blue in it. Okay, I don't know if you can't see the palette really. I just put some, I think it's opera rose and ultramarine blue that's in there. And I put a bit of water in. As you calm it down. I'm going to put some water in and find the position of that flower. That's maybe about there. Oh, it's quite blue, isn't it? There's been a lump of ultramarine on it. I'm going to leave it. I think that was a bit serendipitous, actually. And then, yeah, there's just a bit more of that colour, I think, the rest of it. And I'll even just put in a touch more water to kind of lighten it further, because really it's not that bright a flower. It's just sitting there in the background. And there's another one over here. It's also kind of muted enough, really. There's a touch of yellow in the centre of it, which could be brought in at some point. And then there's a couple of more that you can, that it could be missed altogether, that are sitting up here. A couple more asters. And there's a few more daisies there as well. We'll get to them too. Because I might as well, seeing as I've brought in the crocosmias on one side, I might as well bring it in over here. It's extending over there. And just some touches of something. I'm holding the brush fairly loosely. I kind of trust it to find its way, maybe more than I would if I was directing it too much. And there's the dance of those buds on that side as well, which actually are quite dark. I can darken them down a bit later on if I want, anyway. And then some of that could feature in the back of the sunflower. Shadow in the sunflower. It's not mostly that, but there's just a bit of that kind of a shade, I think. It gets brighter, of course, as we go towards the light. It's the same sunflower that was half dead in the bunch in the studio. It's still managing to stay some way intact. And I just saw it there this morning, and I thought, look, that'll be the one now that I'll just do that. I think I've got this is a fairly bright yellow that might work. Daisy, go away. That's the System 3 acrylic ink by Dale Roney, and it's the cadmium yellow. I'll just get my brushes so that I've got a clean brush. Where did I put them? There's a whole tin of brushes somewhere hidden. Maybe can you find them for me? In your liveliness. Here, I'll just stick with the same brush. I'll just make sure I clean it well enough. Where did I put my tin of brushes, Maisie? Okay. Oh yeah. So the reason I was thinking that I could maybe. Well, I'm just going to leave the yellow for a while, and I'll go and do something in the rest of the greenery. I even brought out a couple of stencils. I don't know if I'll use them or not. And of course, we've got the possibility too of collage. You'd imagine, especially with the greens, it might be useful. Dominant though, isn't it? Because this painting is quite a subtle one for now anyway. So my inclination is to not use anything too bright or nice, isn't it? I like that patchworky thing. Okay, so I've got green on the brush here, and it's a fairly muted green, I think. I'll try not to disturb this because I kind of like that there. So here, I'll just try it. I'm going to use the green in between the daisies there, the stencil, to make some bit of a pattern. I don't know if that really worked. with something anyway. I like trying to find fairly organic ways of explaining things. No, you're not allowed to go that way. Go away, Maisie. No, I said no. You see, the camera is hooked on the door, so she can't. There's no space for her to get out. Maisie, you've got plenty of room in here now. Don't mind your carry on. Let's lift some of that yellow and bring it here, because there's a lovely bright bit. And actually, the crocosmius leaf has got that kind of bright yellow too, with the transparency of the light coming through it. And there's another one sitting up behind the sunflower. Taking the yellow of the sunflower and using it to inject it into the green that's already on my brush for the crocosmius. When I half close my eyes, all of this is generally in shadow, really. Could do with putting a bit more dark into the green there. You can go out later, Maisie. You just need to calm it down now for a while. And then there's a daisy that extends out here too. All right. It is all bringing a touch of some sort of collage, I think. Here, yeah, sure. I'll try this. I think it's wisteria. Photo wisteria from a magazine. I'm sticking some in there to represent the aster. It's very dark. The wisteria photograph actually. It looks bright in the picture, but when you put it on for collage, it's kind of dark, really. So I'm just going back to. I'm going to use some of this lovely blue hard pastels, chalk pastel. All right, I suppose those daisies need to be drawn in somehow, and I think drawing in is a good idea. Okay, so I'm going to use a grey pastel. It's a hard pastel here, chalk, you know, and then the centre of that daisy will be lovely, and be lovely kind of cadmiumish yellow colour. Something like that, I'd say. I'm just picking it up from the palette here with my baby finger and putting on the colour that looks best. I'm kind of mixing it as I'm picking it up from the palette. I think there's even a little bit of chalk pastel fell into the palette, and that's what's making this colour. I'm not sure. But that one there now is maybe a little bit bright, because at the front here it's not quite that bright all the way around. So I'm just going to put some darker paint in to subdue that brightness a bit. And I can lift some of it as I'm drawing with this to make the shape of the petals. So it's not so much grey, because I'm picking up the colour. Pick up the blue from here too, I think. Oh, Maisie. Go on then. I think she's gas out, and she'll be looking to come in now again in a second. Sorry about that. So I'm just using some of the blue paint to pull it around to make the edge of the daisy there. And then I suppose you could even go for a green hard pastel. And then twisting it as I'm drawing with it. You know, just And that was the stem, wasn't it? Can maybe print that again. I'm twisting it as I'm drawing with it in order to keep it kind of loose enough, you know. It's like a zoo in here. Here's Midnight now, standing right beside the flowers. I don't know what she's threatening to do. And then there's a brighter green. I wanted to use a brighter green as we reach the edge of the daisy where it's maybe a little bit brighter at the edge there for the greenery through the window. So there's that's the one that we were doing earlier, wasn't it? The very first daisy, which also needs a center. And then, you know what I've got here too? It might be a bit dramatic, but I've got some of that black ink. And there are places that are quite dark that I think it would benefit to bring in just that bit of drama. And where it's wet, of course, it's running away with it altogether, which is fine. And I'll do the rest of these petals. I put in some water into my Indian ink, and so it's running a bit more freely now, which suits me. I like being able to make a mark with by dipping it in once and then just follow the shape of the petals around the flower so that I'm not having to keep dipping it back in and lose my concentration kind of that way. Not that it's, as I often say, not that it's a botanical kind of piece of work that I'm trying to slavishly copy every single thing. Not that that's what botanical artists do either. I don't know if they're slaves to. But for me, it feels sometimes like I don't want to get into that level of detail, visual detail. I want to get the feel of it with as few marks as I can. No, Midnight, that is not water, that's glue. There. And here's Maisie. You see, you want to come back in now, don't you? Go on, so. It's kind of nice to be able to see the flowers as well as the painting. But anyway, I can take a photograph of the flowers if anyone wanted an image of them. Let me know, and I'll send them to you. Now, I'm doing mixed media, but I wanted to do mixed media that's mainly watercolor for a change. Right, so that's that. And I guess now I can wash the brush really well and see about making the shape of the sunflower. This time we don't have the center of the sunflower as a way of saying this is the flower that it is, because the center of the sunflower is a very easy way, I suppose, of explaining, just mixing a better color. And the center, the dark center of the sunflower is an easy way of capturing its character, because we know that's one of the main features of a sunflower is the dark center. In my experience, it's an easy way to explain it. But of course, the sunshine yellow is another way. So let's see if we can get the real brightness here of the yellow. And I think enhancing the bright by the dark accents around it, I think it would help to put some darker bits in for the greenery, and just to make a bit more of that kind of cup-shaped greenery that holds the flower. And I think I'll just use some paint as well there. Maybe you can bring in more of the chalk after the paint has gone on. I'm using, what am I using? Hooker's green and a touch of tallow blue here. I think it's tallow blue. I do want it to be quite dark, and phthalo blue is a nice dark colour. It's not exactly the colour of the green of the sunflower though, so I'm putting some Van Dyke brown into it to make it a bit more, not quite as blue a green there. I think the sap green is a handy one to inject in there as well. Again, to just make sure that it's not too blue-green a colour, too dark. And I think when I was practicing on here for the petals, I could maybe just tear that and use it to explain some of the petals too, because it's all got a bit messy there and I want to get some clarity back. So I'm going to put some yellow on here for that petal at the outside. Try and keep my fingers off it because my fingers are dirty. And then here too. See, I got some green on it there. I could maybe put a brighter yellow on it, on the paper. Maybe use this straight from the bottle. And I think again, if I were to put a drawn mark where the sunflower stops and the window, the brightness of the light beyond begins, I think that wouldn't be any harm. And then also use a bit of the collage with some of that ink on it. To bring back in a little bit more order into the chaos that was there. And another thing I want to do to bring in order there is maybe, I think maybe I could now use some of the paper collage from the magazine, greenery from the magazine, again to maybe just subdue that blue-green that I had put in earlier. Change, make it a little less nondescript and textured. I think it's very textured, and I'm wanting it to read as smoother, but to have that feeling of it's kind of the collage is doing what I want. I think so far in terms of the kind of change I wanted to make there was to make it less pastel-y looking and more just the color that I'm seeing, which I think it is pretty much. I'm going to put that down there as well for the bottom of the daisy, just noticed it. I'm sure I could do another daisy stem with too, couldn't I? I'll just tear out a thick, I'll tear out a thin piece that hopefully will work for the stem over there too. That's quite a dark. Just trying to get this stuff off my fingers when it's so sticky. Okay. And I'll put another touch of it down below that daisy where it meets where that daisy kind of sits over the top of the jug, the vase. My fingers are annoyingly sticky. But then I want to lift it off the bottom of that if it's easy enough. And then I thought, as well as lifting off that, I'm going to place on some light petals there. I suppose it'd be a good time, wouldn't it, to put something down for the vase. Good girl, Maisie. You're being a good girl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's quite a good colour, and kind of brings in a bit of a new pattern. I'll just put some glue over that side and then paste it down. Um, you know what I keep saying is this. I think Ella Fitzgerald sang it. Barbara Streisand sang it. It's a song that came up. It was a film I watched the other day. That's what it was. 2 days ago now, like, and I'm still singing the blessed thing. But it's lovely. I love the song. I can't quite hit all the chords, but it's Now you say you love me. Oh no. Do you know that song? Na, 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 na. Well, you can cry me a river, cry me a river. I cried a river over you. Right. Um, so that's the kind of soundtrack to my days, these last few days. Don't know why, aside from it having been on that film, I suppose. That's why. Like, I don't want anyone to cry me a river or anything. Look, this is, I think maybe now that other things have been upped in terms of brightness, I could also just do a bit of drawing. I mean, this is quite vibrant, this fluorescent ink for the Crocosmia. But the Crocosmia is a vibrant flower. And even if it's not precisely this colour, it's a bright flower and it's orange, and I like this. I like that as a way of explaining something about it. I have the high flow acrylic as well, high flow acrylic ink that I'm just putting into my watercolour palette there, and I'll maybe subdue the brightness of the red of the fluorescent ink with some of that too in the mix. Let's just see. Get some, yeah, just to do some little bits of opaque orange in the Crocosmia too. Right, now the center is darker than I've got it. Made a few plans there. It's going to do something with this that's haunting as well. I think there's even a touch of this about the Crocosmia. Let me just stick some of that down somewhere there. And over on that one too. That's not really the place for it, is it? Maybe just here. And I thought then I would, yeah, maybe make some darker marks in here just to fill in the space between the flowers, and let us remember about them as well, that it's not all white in the background, you know, in there, that there's a bit of a chaos of different things. There's a daisy as well facing back there that could be explained with a couple of dark moves, maybe part of it anyway. The stem of the daisy is a fairly clear way of describing it too. Okay, and then I had the thought that I would I was going to put something on the bottom of that vase, wasn't I? I think I had the idea that I would use that, but I wasn't sure. I think this is more like it. I didn't mean to go out that better, so I'm gonna. I like the torn edge, but I don't want it to have distractions in it. Saying that, I could maybe make the torn edge the other side, which is kind of feels better for having to be torn on that side rather than that. So, okay. There's a nod to the blue stripe in there. Yeah, that's not working. What do I want to do now? Maybe this ultramarine blue is a good one for parts of those purples. Give them just a bit more oomph, those asters. And I guess I could do that thing of painting the background. Yeah, I might as well do something in the background. I haven't really considered hugely the color I would use here now, but I'm just going to go with some kind of a wild card reddish color that's here. I think it's alizarin crimson. Just to say there is something going on in the background. Don't really know how it's going to read that. It's not the end of the world, is it? Or something, doesn't matter if it's not amazing. Okay, that'll be enough of that. And maybe when it's drier, I might put something in with another pinkish color. There's actually a foxglove coming down there. Got a big belly on it. I like having the pattern of the aster in there, purple studded throughout the thing. And really, I suppose it doesn't sit so well without some sort of anchoring down here. Try that purple. It's not going to make a colour. Wonder what it would be like. Is it loads of PVA glue there now? Sure. I'll just see what it would be like with some of the dark Indian ink in it to create the shape of the shadow sitting underneath the vase a bit. Oh yeah, I was going to do a petal overlapping as it does. There's a few daisy petals there kind of overlapping the just need to get clean paper overlapping the pot. It's hard to keep the paper clean when my hands are so dirty. Okay, stick it on there. I'm using tons of glue, but that doesn't matter. And then I might stick one over there as well. Oh, I got some glue on the curtain now. Lovely new curtains. It dries clear anyway, sure. I might just put a piece on the daisy that's up here too, just to keep them all similar enough. And then I thought I would use the black again to outline explain a little bit more shape of the petal there. You don't have to do this, you know. The thing of outlining it after the collage goes on. That's a bit of overkill. But sometimes I just feel like doing that, so I just do it. Alright, I'm kind of running out of stuff to do now. This might be one of those where I just needed to let myself do whatever I wanted rather than make something that felt very pleasing visually. It feels like a bit of a bomb of colour everywhere. I just noticed there that I haven't really explained what's going on at this edge here. And even maybe with a line explaining something a bit more clear in the petals and stuff. And there's a fern there, lovely light tipped fronds. And fairly dark brownish green center to it. Let me try and do that. Nearly there now, Maisie. Just torn the paper towel from my hand. Testy. Looking for attention now, as she is. I'd say she knows that she can get it if she starts. Oh, there. Good girl. I shouldn't be talking badly about you when you're doing a good job of waiting. I know, Maisie. I think I'm just gonna put a touch of something darker there. Jeepers, it doesn't need it to be that dark. That was the it was the Van Dyke brown. If I put ultramarine blue into it, I think it'll make it a more satisfying colour for the background there. And there's a ledge. There's a bright ledge. And then there's a shadow in front here. And there's something like that happening. That's actually from the cardboard from the box of pastels, so I won't use that, but I might use something done here. Oh, I forgot too about the Edinburgh Fringe Festival booklet is kind of sunflower yellow, isn't it? I could maybe give those sunflowers a last blast of brightness with their tips, which I think would be satisfying with the fringe yellow. Because there's something just a little bit disappointing about the brightness of the sunflower to me. Just needed that bit more at its edge, I thought. And I was going to look then, I think this is William Morris patterns. I quite like this one. I'm going to put it there at the bottom. Use up the remaining glue for this. Okay, that's it. That's where I'm going to stop. Thanks for your attention. It was lovely to be with you. I hope you can see the flowers there a bit better. I'll send a photo if anyone wants a photo from my angle. Let me know. Okay. Bye. I turn it off.